Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. It's really hot, and
I feel like it's like I feel like I don't totally get the whole sous vide thing. Where they cook food in it's kind of a scientific food preparation trend where, I shouldn't say trend, I'm sure chefs use it all the time, but everything is done in vacuum sealed bags and then placed in water, those bags, and then the temperature of the water is raised to a certain point and it cooks that food in a certain amount of time. But because it's fully submerged into the water, the cooking is really precise because the water surrounds the food. But all of that said, I feel like I am in the vacuum sealed bag, submerged into the water that is cooking from all angles. It's so flipping hot.
I'm in my underwear. So,
well, that does not surprise me.
Because I am so hot and I don't want to be uncomfortable. So I'm in a tank top and my boy short underwear.
I love
look like
this.
shorts and no one would ever know. So there you go.
And I know, not unless you like pan down. If you pan down, we might all get to see your nipples. and we'll all judge.
And I can't turn the air conditioning on because then the sound would be bad.
Oh,
but we are blessed to have a home and to have a moment with each other while your kids are off to university and mine are finally in a full day of school.
Finally, because they haven't been until now?
Well, technically yesterday was their first day, but I don't count it because it was 30 minutes.
Oh, 30 minutes? You had to get everything organized. I remember, I do have memory of it being super short, but I don't remember it being 30 minutes, except for maybe in kindergarten. But
sure,
the boys are in grade 4?
Grade 4. And the first day is literally just to take attendance, just to see who's back, who said they're going to school and they are actually attending that school. And so they go back to their teachers that they had last year in grade 3, which is great. So it's comfortable.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. However,
they get to start there.
Some time, right, to figure out where they're going to get placed. So it's a really interesting process. But that's just, they have to really, it makes me happy that they take their time to really make sure that they're placing everyone where they feel they need to go. And I do like that part of it, but the anxiety that it can cause for some kids.
Yeah.
Like one of mine is really hard and challenging. It's really difficult.
And your description of that reminds me of, or the word that kind of comes to mind is that kind of strangely, not ambiguous. That's not the right word, but it's like that, strange in between where nothing is certain and you're kind of in, maybe limbo is the right word, but like you're already uncertain because you're starting something new for kids. You're already uncertain because you know that there's something coming, but you don't yet have any sense of it. You don't know who's going to be in your class. You don't know which teachers you're going to have. The classrooms are going to be new. So yeah, that's, I totally, I feel for kids.
I guess you could argue that, maybe it's a good thing so that they can get adjusted to, let's say, quote unquote, the real world of that, like not knowing, right? Of knowing that maybe you just have to figure out a way to feel safe and look at the positive and find the good in what you do have.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
Same school, starting with the same teacher that they had the year before. I mean, kindergarten is completely different. I'm not really interested in going back and talking about that. That was awful. So I feel for the ones that are, I really do feel for the ones that are, their kids are starting school. I don't know how you do that in work. when it's like gradual entry. So that's a whole other thing. And I am with you, parents, people, guardians that are doing that. Well, what about you though? Because this is the second year for your girls to be in university. So, and they know, right? Like they know tell me more about that, because that's a little bit more predictable, right? I mean, not the first year.
Is. Yeah, it is for sure. So it's actually Soph's fifth year, which, despite the fact that it's another year of more of the hard costs of university and that kind of thing, that aside, because that's really not important in the grand scheme, the fact that she jumped for joy with the idea that she could go back for another year, like she was so excited to go back for another year. She loves school. She loves university. She is thriving there, and she is just somebody who does need a really good sense of order or agency, that she can make things happen the way that she needs them to happen for herself. She's really good at, she's taught me so many things about myself with the way that she has managed herself. And sidebar, I think a lot of that for her and for Bridget is deeply connected to their unplanned, but it ended up being the case, their years in Montessori.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I think that's an interesting conversation as it relates to the school system and our children. But both girls are highly self-managing, highly responsible, highly time sensitive. They take full responsibility for everything that they do. And Sophie going into fifth year is just, she's in a really, really great spot. So that is such a joy to watch. And she's already thinking about what comes after that. So she is also planful, which I deeply appreciate. Bridget, she too is highly organized and found her own place to live, organized the rent, organized the meetings with the landlord, organized, all the move-in details, got herself into the house with the other girls, is all over setting up her internet and setting up renter's insurance. And she's doing all these similar things that Sophie also has done. But school at second year, I think there's still a little bit of anxiety around, what does this look like? You're certainly not in that first year experience where everything is new. But I think that coming of age, that 19, which is what Bridget is now, where your legs are on either side of childhood and adulthood, and it's kind of uncomfortable, probably because your legs are on either side of those two chapters.
You can see the borderline.
Yeah, exactly. But she's flexing into that adult space, and then she wants to go back to that childhood space because it's familiar and all she's known. So I think that age is really very moving to watch as a parent, because it is that real straddle between those two distinct chapters or eras of our lives. I couldn't be more proud of them as humans, even separate from them being my children, just them as humans and how they're choosing to show up. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is why all those years, the years that you're in, creating and molding and shaping and leading beautiful boys and children, but all those years where it's flipping hard and there is ambiguity and there are these spaces of not knowing and then doing your best, and then sometimes it not being what you hoped it would be, or feeling in kind of retrospect that that wasn't the right decision. All of that must happen, because one day they're 19 and they're 22 and you're just like,
yes.
They are whole beings.
They are.
They navigated the mistakes that we make or the things that we don't do right. And they use those as their own examples of, that happened that way with my own experience, and I don't want to do that the same way. And then we go, great, take that thing that I did that was not the right thing and use that as an example of what not to do. So,
first of all, thanks for sharing. And what's coming to me is that these stories help us no matter what age we are, because we all take a lesson from them. And I also would like to say that you and Chris have done such an incredible job raising these girls to give them and provide them this sensibility and this strength, and like, that's brave, and the other piece of that is that they're communicating with you. They're not necessarily asking you to do anything. The way that you're communicating back to them using questions, showing your support that way, and making sure that they know you're there for them. But I love your relationship with your girls in that sense of, we're like, oh, well, no problem. I'll just be here for you, and we can chat, or I can encourage you, or we can sit in silence while you make your tea or a sandwich, like whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter. But for me, showing my support in action, showing my love with action, that's what I want to keep doing for my kids, is showing up and showing them through my actions that things are possible. And even though things are scary, you can be brave, and that even if I'm not there, maybe someone else will be there for you to sit in it, right? We talk a lot about that, just sitting in the moment and being like, oh, I don't feel good. Maybe I have a headache. Maybe my shoulders are up to my ears. Maybe my breathing's different. Maybe my tummy is gurgly, but I'm still going to do it because I have to. And I'm trusting that intuition.
I love your descriptions from where you sit and also where you are in your journey with the boys, because we are in different stages with our kids, and yet we can relate regardless of the age of them with how we connect with them, communicate with them. And one of the things that I notice that you do really well is you do many things very well, but one of the things that you do really well, and I notice it because maybe I tend not to be one to sit in things. That has been like a default of mine that I'm trying to unlearn a little bit, because my default is to be in action and to be constantly doing. And so I don't sit physically, I don't sit still well. And so the idea of sitting in a feeling or sitting in an experience and literally sitting somewhere.
Well, just for the record, I don't sit still very well either.
But that's fair. But what I notice is that you acknowledge that that is an important practice. And so what that tells me is that you're really aware that either you're not quite there yet yourself, and it's something that you're continuing to practice, but it's something that you're teaching your boys, and you acknowledge what they're feeling and then allow that moment to be what it is. You also do it with our guests on Half Betty.
Yeah.
Often in these different conversations, when something big is shared by our guest, you will say, yeah, and sometimes we just need to sit in that experience, even if it's really, really hard. And every single time the guest will be nodding, which, right now, because we're audio, we're audio based, our listeners aren't seeing all that body language, which is so rich, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what I can see, because we're in our recording, is I can see our guests leaning forward because they hear you saying what they themselves have had to do, which is at some point they're sitting in whatever experience that they're having, because it's in that sitting that they're having the moment of recognition that something either needs to change, or they want to do something differently, or this is the turning point, or this is where I make a shift. It's not in the busy. You don't come up with that in the busy. You come up with that in the still. So I really appreciate that you are very, very aware of that. And it's something that I'm in the practice in all the time. And what I do, I believe really well, is that I arguably also I'm an over communicator, but I am a heightened communicator, and I have been since the day my girls were born, and hopefully before that, but intentionally with the girls, the communication with them has been one of my primary, apart from keeping them alive and making sure that, they're fed and clothed and housed.
Yeah.
But I think apart from that, one of my biggest focuses would be that I constantly learn how to be a better communicator with them always, and that our lines of communication are never, ever blocked. So that has been really rewarding, because now that they're out in the world and they're not dealing with me primarily or with Chris, but they're dealing with the real world of all different kinds of people, all different kinds of ages, all different kinds of backgrounds, and all different kinds of situations. And they're taking that communication that we have built and they're applying it to those conversations, many of which are hard. That to me is the biggest reward, is seeing them taking the learned communication and applying it now to life.
Yes. And you can kind of quietly sit back and I love it when I witness
really lovely.
my boys with other people, whether that's kids, adults, whatever.
Yeah.
And, they say something or do something, and I sit back and I go, ooh, they were listening. Ooh, they saw what I did in that situation. Ooh, and the same with Kyle, right? They listened to him. They remembered what he said. They remembered that offering or the actions that we took in that moment, and they put that into their action it's
so good.
Best.
It's so good.
It always catches me off guard when those little moments happen, and I love it. It's so good.
I love that. It's so rewarding. I think the way that stories come together for me, or these visions of connectivity, whether it's between something that occurs or a past experience or a future idea, I tend to find a way to put all those pieces together, and then it forms something that creates a learning or a takeaway or a perspective. And this morning, that narrative that formed was the combination of Bridget and her experience of getting a job and quitting the job the same in a span of 2 days. And today being the 1 year anniversary, and there's all kinds of anniversaries, but the 1 year anniversary of the day that I departed from my last
today?
Job. Today.
September 3rd.
Yeah. And so the poignancy
full body shivers. It's just, that's a whole other episode, friend. That's yep.
And the poignant bit for me is that, like you were just saying, witnessing Bridget's navigation of something that was hard and something that was not for her in an anniversary year to the date of me doing something similar.
Yes.
Was not lost on me. And then I think the other piece that was very paralleled is that when she took this interview, and the woman that she spoke with was really very praising of Bridget. She said that Bridget's answers to the questions were really well done, and how well spoken Bridget was, and that she was excited for this company to have Bridget on board. And what I took from that is, as we are humans, hearing things about ourselves that is nice or that makes us feel good is important. And when it comes from good people and it's authentic and genuine and grounded in the values that match ours, then it's amazing. It doesn't even have to be with work. It could be with anything. But something comes up and the person who's wanting you to join them is really kind, says some lovely things about you, praises you for some of your qualities. And despite maybe a niggle of intuition that is saying, this might not be for me, often that's overridden because our ego has just received fuel and it's like going off. Like it's just like, wow, look at me. And then we find ourselves sometimes in roles or in experiences or situations that we get into and then we go, oh God, this is not for me. How to get myself here.
And then the deciding factor.
The answer is,
do I stay? Do I stay?
And then
do
what to
I
do?
go now?
Exactly. And I don't know about you, but I've stayed in things and then I'm like, oh, because I
And you think that's because of ego?
Felt. Yeah, because now, I mean, I think it probably moves from ego into wanting to do the right thing and wanting to please people or not be seen as flaky or worried about perception. I think that's what happens is that you first go into it because of ego. Yep. And then next you go into it because you're a people pleaser or you're anxious about looking bad or you're truly empathetic to the situation that you've created by your decision. And so you say, this isn't for me, but I took the job and now I'm going to have to suck it up.
So, okay. So on the flip side of that, is it possible to put ourselves in the position of the company? Say you're the CEO of the company or whatever, let's say. And then, do you want your employees to be in a situation where they're not happy, that they're not working at their highest capacity? Do you want them to be upset? Do you want them to fear coming to you to have a discussion? And if they do, are you prepared to have an open, honest discussion? So it's two sides. I really do believe. And if, the company person, manager, whoever is paying attention and they are conscious of all of your communication styles, which, let's be honest, leadership in a leadership role, you have to learn very quickly, what works for your employees, what works for your staff. And if their communication style isn't your communication style, you got to figure it out. So it's important, right? Totally. On their side too, to make sure that you're happy. It works both ways. So
of course,
really
agreed. Yeah, it's big.
So
it's a big
important.
Conversation. And, I think...
And on top of all of that, sorry for interrupting, but on top of all that, there is the financial side of it all, right? Deciding to take a job is quite often attached with money, and deciding to leave a job is also very much attached to the dollars. And so overriding all of those feelings and saying, no, this is not aligned.
Not for me. Yeah. It's big.
It's brave.
It's big.
It's really, really brave.
It's very brave. It is
we
brave.
can learn that while we're 19. We can learn that in our 50s.
When we're 50.
And we can learn it when we're older, in our 80s, our
82.
90s. Like, 100%. It doesn't matter, right? All of these lessons that we're learning, it doesn't matter how old we are. It doesn't matter who we are.
Agnostic of age. Yeah. It's so true.